Hello everyone, Mike Rempel from Another Set of Eyes with today's Excel Bytes blog post. Today we're going to take a look at cell references, absolute, relative, and mixed cell references in Excel. A relatively simple example, but I hope this is educational for you and I hope you like it. Let's take a look. So here we have a simple table of three different products and their totals, and I want to add them up and then multiply them times those discounts. So what we're going to do, first we're going to start out by creating a little total here. I clicked on cell I5 and I'm just going to go up to the auto sum button, click on that, and Excel will enter the formula equals sum F5 to H5, and I'm going to hit Control Enter. Control Enter enters the value into the cell or the formula into the cell, but keeps your cursor in the active cell rather than moving down one cell. So that's Control Enter. So now we have the formula equals sum F5 to H5, and I'm going to use the autofill handle and drag that down. And as you notice, each formula subsequently has adjusted to F6 to H6, F7 to H7, etc. And those are called relative cell references. The F8 and H8 in this case are relative cell references because they are relative to the formulas or the cells that they are adding. So in this case, actually Excel is not saying I'm adding F8 to H8. What Excel is actually saying is I'm adding the three cells to the left. So as you move that formula down, it's going to relatively adjust, and that's why they are called relative cell references. Now I want to multiply these totals times these three discounts. So what I'm going to do is click in cell J5 and enter the formula equals I5 times J4, and I'm going to hit Control Enter, and you'll see that's my formula, I5 times J4, and it gives me my discount. Now if I copy that down, those don't look quite right. If I choose one down here and double click, you'll see that it's multiplied the correct total cell but times the incorrect cell relative to the discount. That is because Excel is saying multiply the cell to the left times the cell directly above, and that's not what we want. We want to lock cell J4 and make that what's called an absolute cell reference. So it is absolutely stays the same, does not change. So I'm going to hit Escape, and then I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that. And how you lock cells when you want to make them absolute references is by using the dollar sign. So I'm going to click F2 to put this in edit mode, click on the J4 and hit the F4 key. And the F4 key is a shortcut to make a cell absolute. And you'll see by when I hit it once, Excel put dollar signs in front of the J and in front of the 4 to lock both the row and the column. I'll hit Control Enter. Now when I fill that down, these look correct. If I double check the bottom one by hitting the F2 key, you'll see it's multiplying I11 times J4, which is exactly what we want to do. I'll hit Escape and I'll hit Control Z to undo that. Now I want to copy this across so that it multiplies this total times 80% and 70%. So when I copy it across, let's see what happens here. If I hit F2, that again is not correct. Excel kept the formula multiply the one cell to the left times J4. In this case, the one cell to the left is K5, which is not what we want. We wanted it to be I5. So we now have to create what's called mixed cell references. So certain aspects of the cell reference will be locked, but others will be relative so that they can move as we adjust the formula location. So I'm going to hit Escape again, and I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that. So now we have to spend a second to think about this formula so we know what we need to lock and what we want to remain relative. So in our case, I'm going to hit the F2 key just to put it in edit mode. For the I5, which is the total, as we copy it down, we want the row number, the 5, to remain relative, so it changes. But as we copy it across, we want the column reference I to be locked because we want to keep it on that total column. So I'm going to hit the F4 key once, twice, 3 times, notice every time I hit it, Excel adjusts relative versus absolute reference to that cell. So let's go through that again. If right now it is in a relative mode, if I hit it once, it becomes absolute, locking both the row and the column. I hit F4 again, it'll lock the row but not the column. I hit it again, it'll lock the column, not the row. And one more time, it changes it back to relative. So in our case, we want to hit it once, twice, 3 times to lock the column but not the row. Now when we look at the discount cell reference, as we copy it down, we want to lock the row because all our discounts are in row 4, but as we move it across, we want the column reference to be relative. So since it's already in an absolute state, if I hit F4 once, it will change it to lock the row but leave the column relative. I'll hit Control Enter, I'll copy it across, and then copy it down, and then I'll click on the last cell, hit F2, and that looks perfect. It's multiplying I11 times L4, which is exactly what we want it to do. And that's absolute, relative, and mixed cell references. I hope you liked it. I hope it's worthwhile to you. If you'd like to see more, please feel free to go to my website, excel-bytes.com, and I hope you subscribe. Happy excelling!